budgets today. Welcome here today with Dustin is the first to speak today on the public infrastructure, right?
Okay, you want to start with that?
Real quick, I just want to go over,
No. Do we have to do a pledge of allegiance today?
No.
if you want to, I mean, you
If
can.
you want to, we can.
This is a special meeting, right?
Right.
I forget, did we do them on?
I don't think we did.
What's our protocol?
We don't have one.
We don't
Don't
have
have
one. All right. Drive on.
Drive on.
What we presented for y'all, we're doing budget for department this week. And so in your packet, we've done the operations and narratives for the individual departments and their items. So it's kind of like not a full-on wish list. It's just things that we are hoping to plan to do next year and incorporate and implement. Today, we do have Dustin handling the public works gamut, and we're co-oping stormwater. And then we'll also try to do administration. And if there's any time after that, we'll do planning and inspections.
I just like to tell everybody I'd like to be out here as early as I can. I do have appointments in Sherrod, South Carolina, which is a 2-hour drive. So Dustin, make it quick, brother.
Start with the public infrastructure. You have any questions?
Well, wait a minute.
Okay.
Public infrastructure? Is
Yes.
that-
Public infrastructure.
Okay.
Got any questions about it?
Well, why don't you tell us what you're doing?
Yeah, go over what
Okay.
you wanna do.
Yeah.
Dustin, would you use the mic, please?
Yeah, just take us through everything that you're looking to do next year, Dustin.
Out of public infrastructure, there's really nothing out of here. That's just that department supplies dealing with the town hall, fire department, anything like that that needs to be fixed. Same thing with infrastructure.
Sorry.
Utilities, that's where, for the buildings, streetlights, all that comes out of utilities. Water, all that comes out of that. Infrastructure and maintenance is where, it's also for the buildings, for anything that needs to be done, the air conditioners.
Dustin, I just ask you a question about utilities.
Yeah.
The lights being installed on the island and other places in town, the LED lights, are they putting them in at no charge to us?
Yeah, no charge to us.
They don't charge us?
No, not to change them out.
Okay, good.
No.
Have we had any complaints about them?
One.
Yes.
I've had one complaint.
Too bright.
Too bright. Yes. Other than that, that's all.
Second complaint, too bright.
But just one.
Okay, good. Thank you.
The ground maintenance is also, that's Nature Works that does the contract for us.
Who?
Nature Works that does the landscaping work for us, comes out of that. And anything, plants, flowers, anything that we do, extra comes out of it also.
They do a good job.
Yeah, they do.
Jesus. Sorry.
In contract service, that's where the generators come out of, ProTech, Power Source comes out of it, for the generators upkeep. Phoenix for the, testing for the, out there Station 2, our air quality test that we do out there, comes out of it also.
I've also taken, with contracted services for public infrastructure and pulled out things like the telephone and stuff like that were split across the departments, that were kind of skewing departments, because we were just splitting them evenly between all departments. So if it has something to do that was split evenly between all departments, I'm pulling them into the public infrastructure so that it's not like, it's not like, it's making it more clear where everything has come from.
So those would be under the utilities?
That's gonna be under contract services.
Contract service.
That's why there's such an increase
So
in
that's
that
why
one.
Yeah.
we went up 184,000?
Yes.
Okay, that's,
Why did
so you added in all the phone services?
Except for like cell phones, because those are individual per department. Like, you can tell how many phones per department there is and things like that. So those are still in the departments. But things that were like divided by all departments equally, I have a spreadsheet that Lori helped me put together, and so that's where I've gotten all the information to pull over to this one, because I mean, a lot of the contracted services were just like divided evenly between all departments, so we're just adding money to the departments,
So all the phones now are under that, except for cell.
except for cell phones.
Well, basically, anything in our contracted services that, the point is not to make the departments inflate their budget to cover these things, it's to put it all in one spot so the public knows this is where it is, this is what it is, as opposed to spreading the wealth across the departments. One's an accounting feature, one's a budgeting feature. This is just, we don't need to say that this department covered its fair share of this because it just falls under this line item now. It could have been any
Okay.
contracted services that, if we just said divide by the number of, there's 12 departments, let's divide it by 12 and be done with it. It's now just grouped back up into one space.
Should we like putting in parentheses, all phone, for people to look at this, because the utilities want to put $184,000. If we'd put in parentheses, all telephone,
Right.
just a thought.
There's a lot, there's a list. that I
Yeah, it's
have.
not just
Yeah,
telephones, is
it's
what
not
we're saying. I
telephone.
mean,
Okay.
it's all contracted services that, and instead of them having to go through and code it to multiple departments to run one item,
Yeah.
it's all coded to one line item now.
The question is it in here? I
Um,
mean,
Well, it's not broken out in here, but if we can get that
Yeah,
information.
I have a spreadsheet that I
Yeah.
can,
well,
But with the
what
budget
I'm
line.
thinking of is kind of in terms of, if you will, a cheat sheet.
right,
Most of us have seen this once or twice, most of the citizens have not. But when you go down and you use professional services, on this one, there's only 125,000. But there are other departments that have lots of professional services. And so, kind of, what are those things?
Well,
that-
to be honest, we can't always break that out because we're planning on if we might need professional services, like we might need the COG. But it won't just say it's just for the COG, it's just for engineering. It's a lump guess about using professional services for what may come up. So we may not be able to give an exact list of everything that falls under professional services for every department.
Yeah, but you did have to go through a process where you identified what you were going to estimate.
Yeah, based on previous years of what we did and did not use.
Yeah, I mean, and so those items would be, the point is, when looking through here, it doesn't jump out and explain itself, what it is.
So
Like-
you don't want a
like-
line item budget, you would like an all vendor listed budget.
I don't know, I don't know if
Well-
we need to go that detailed, but the thing is just somehow explain in general what this is. You don't have to break it down per item.
It popped right out at me, and I'm satisfied with the answer, but some people may want to see what,
We
Your
can
spreadsheet.
try to get something for you by April.
I mean, so there are specific things in a budget
Yeah.
that, you can list off to the
Yeah.
side or whatever. There are some things that are estimated because we budget for it, and
Yeah.
then whatever we don't use of that budget, it goes back into our general fund.
I understand that.
Right.
I mean.
So
and-
there's not everything has a very specific thing, but I can do like,
We give you examples
Like
of what
a
has been done in the
general-
past.
Like
Well,
miscellaneous,
I mean, this
list a
one
couple.
here on the contract services, which now includes all, I guess, all the landline telephones basically in that system.
right.
And it
Right.
has a $184,000 jump in it.
Right, well, that
Um,
one I have, I have a spreadsheet.
Yeah.
Because that is a change, I do have a spreadsheet where I figured out
Yeah.
how much that would be.
Yeah.
So that I do have, that I can send to you.
Okay, well, what I'm thinking of in the process here is like a little asterisk or a little footnote type of thing that goes down the bottom and says, we consolidated all the phones into one account, and that's why there's a jump. It's probably too many words.
Well, even look at the spreadsheet attached to it, something like that. If you're gonna make up a spreadsheet, why don't you just say spreadsheet attached and be in the back?
Right, well, for this one, I have that,
Okay, good.
so.
Yeah.
You're okay attaching the spreadsheet to that, John?
Yeah, I mean, not just for us, but
Not for us, I know.
for,
Public.
the public needs to look at it and see.
Okay? Okay. That does.
And,
Anything else?
our liability insurance jumped up $11,000. Is this the whole town liability insurance?
It was under budgeted.
All of
Last
the
year.
liability lines were under budgeted last year.
Okay. Does every department have liability lines, or is it?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Is that $11,000 jump for all the departments or
No.
just?
Mm-mm. It's divided out on a percentage basis,
Okay.
because it's property and liability. So this one is bigger because of the properties part of it.
And all of the equipment you all agreed to purchase last year was not necessarily budgeted for all of it.
But we didn't have exact figures either.
Anything else on public infrastructure?
But, Department infrastructures,
And, yeah,
Oh,
Public Works land.
the Public Works land discussion, about looking for land for at least about 5 acres.
is
what
that
I'm
what the
looking
one, you're talking about the $1.6 million?
Yes.
Okay.
yeah, and to clarify, that's also a placeholder number for not just Public
Yeah.
Works, but when the council goal and objective to add possible land next
Oh.
door for town hall.
Okay.
That's also for parking for the town hall.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that encompasses land purchase as a whole.
Okay.
But we actually haven't looked at price limit yet.
No, that's why we're doing an estimated based on tax values of lands in the town of similar size.
Yeah.
So this
Okay.
is for Public Works.
This is for Public Works land and for possible land for town hall next door.
Yeah.
And half the bathroom structure.
And,
Yeah.
yeah,
Half the
And
bathroom
what?
Structure.
Sorry, I can't hear you.
And half of the bathroom structure
At the
or
gazebo.
out the gazebo.
at the
Oh,
gazebo.
okay. Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, again, to me, that's another one that you put a little footnote in that's on the bottom that explains.
Well, that's what the
Absolutely.
narrative stuff's also in this book for. But it's just
Yeah.
for some reason not in this back behind this page. It's all under
It's
streets.
under streets. Where is that?
Oh, okay,
I had it only in one document.
Yeah, I know.
okay.
That's the bathroom at the gazebo.
Half of it. The other
Half
half
of
can be used through accommodations. And that was, we were expecting what, roughly about 200,000 if you
About
build,
200.
if you build a permanent bathroom, it'd be about $200,000.
And that would be covered under accommodation.
Half under accommodations, half in the general fund.
Is that including just one bathroom or
It-
two? Both ends like we have it now, or just consolidate one at the pier or at
Just
the
one.
roadside?
It's just one
Just
in
one.
location unknown at this point.
Yeah.
I really prefer not to have it on roadside.
Well, the way the UDO
I can't
reads-
hear you either. That's,
Deaf?
yeah, I'm getting there, yes.
Okay, I just said I prefer to have the bathroom at the pier end and not at the road.
And
If
the
we
way-
could do that.
The way the town ordinances work is from Main Street, currently now, no development beyond 150 feet below the right-of-way of Main Street.
Mhm.
So it'd have to be at the front to meet the UDO standards, or you'd have to give yourself permission to break your rules.
Now, could we just break the rules for the one time and bring it back to the 150 feet?
I wouldn't recommend it, that's bad precedent, but there's nothing that says y'all aren't above doing that.
Well,
Well, the pier's actually sitting there.
But it was there prior to that rule. Sorry,
there's portable bathroom there.
Right.
now.
Yes.
Is that 150 feet, over, more than 150 feet?
I don't have a survey, so I mean, it'd be right around it. I mean, it'd be pretty close.
So you're saying the
Well,
pier,
Can you not put the permanent bathroom there?
That's what I'm saying, if it's beyond that 150 feet, we might not be able to, by the rules.
but we could bring it
I
up a
don't
little
think- But you
closer.
could put it where it is now.
We can put a mobile one there, but, because it's not development, but you can't build a permanent structure there if it's beyond the 150 feet.
But I thought you just said it was not beyond the 100.
No, I said, I don't know, without a survey, I don't know.
Doesn't look like it is.
Well, 150 feet doesn't look like a lot.
I know.
Plus, that's not considered a permanent structure anyway.
Not the mobile
Not the
bathroom,
mobile.
Right. That's the
but if we did
problem,
a
Jeff.
permanent there,
I think you'll find it's beyond 150
yeah,
feet.
I think it is too.
Really?
But without a survey, I'm not gonna sit here and,
But that's not saying we can't move that bathroom closer to the road to make it under the 150 feet.
you don't have the room.
No.
The
You would take
parking goes all the way almost to the, I mean, there's not enough space. It's either the front or where it's at.
Yeah,
at the
you'd be
gazebo.
losing, if you move to the front, you'd be losing some parking places.
Then why are we making a permanent bathroom?
Well, it was one of the council goals and objectives from
Right.
last year that we talked about. We added it this year just as a basis in case y'all wanted to discuss it. And the trailer itself, if we did a new trailer, is about 52.
52,000 for a new trailer.
And how often
How
do
long
we have
have
to
they
change it out? 3 years?
That one's been out there roughly about 5, 6 years. That one's been out there.
And it needs to be replaced, you
Yeah.
think?
Yeah, there's a lot of wear and tear on that one.
Again, Jan, we're just looking at this hypothetically, so.
Okay.
Yeah, no decisions are being made today unless y'all really want to kill something. I mean, and that's fine. That's what we're here for, is to find out what we need to proceed on, getting more solid descriptive numbers to you versus, continuing with our estimates.
I mean, we really only need that like 3 months out of the year, right?
That's
People
used a
move
lot.
around.
That's used a lot.
I
Jan.
know it's, but we don't need two.
No, we're not talking about
Year-round.
2, just 1. If we do permanent, it'd be 1,
Just one bathroom.
not 2.
Yeah,
One building.
But you could put the permanent one where, near the road,
Mhm.
where that one is.
Yeah, but, I'm not sure what the word is, just call it convenience for right now. That's a lousy place to put a bathroom that's supporting the beach.
I agree.
It's kind of important to try to keep it up there by the gazebo, by the showers, where it's accessible to the people who go to the beach there.
and there is older language in that same rule that says it excludes health department approved waste management systems, which is what referred to the old septic tanks and septic fields. And you could loosely base that the bathroom would be health department approved, it'd have to be. But, I mean,
Can you look into that?
that's kind of splitting hairs in the rule. I mean, I've already looked at it. I'm telling you what my professional planning opinion is. You might be able to get away with it, but it's splitting hairs that it's a slippery slope.
So who are we getting away with it with? CAMA?
No,
Or-
ourselves.
Ourselves.
Our own UDO.
What's the downfall of changing the UDO just to put this bathroom in and go back to the 150 feet?
That's not good law in North Carolina.
Why do we
What-
need a permanent bathroom? Why do we need it?
I don't know. This is, like I said, this has cropped up multiple times over the last few years.
Well, the thing is, it's $52,000 to change them out, and
I understand.
they're not that good of a.
But you don't have to do that.
Including at the community session, somebody raised
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Ruth.
I remember.
We're looking into it, that's all. I
So-
mean, just-
Yeah, we're just looking,
Yeah.
The worst case scenario, we go back to the,
go back
uh,
to
the trailers.
I think we
Well-
need to
well-
keep what we got, but that's me.
Well, the one question is, does our UDO permit going in for a variance for that type of public utility?
No,
Conveyance.
because under North Carolina law, it would be a use variance, and those are illegal in North Carolina. The Board of Adjustment couldn't legally issue that
Okay,
variance.
okay. It's the data point I needed. Okay.
I say legally they couldn't.
Yeah.
Nothing says that they
They-
wouldn't.
they don't.
I still think we should go forward and investigate the cost, what we could do this for.
That's what we've done here. We've investigated this cost. The choice is permanent bathroom, 200,000, give or take. Trailer bathroom, 52,000, give or take.
We've also had a person complain about having a bathroom at the road.
I'm one of them. So,
Well, there are people who find it convenient to have a bathroom at the end of the park, too.
I understand that too.
yeah.
so what's the
For me, I think
consensus
we
of the?
need more than one.
Charlie, what's the consensus? Do we go forward with looking at the 150 feet survey? Because that's what we have to do next. To
Oh,
see-
this whole thing would have to be surveyed because about where it's at, it also crosses the VE, AE flood zone line. So that's going to depend on the development standards of the building. It's still going to have to be how high it's got to be off the ground, how high your ramp has to be, how far your ramp has to go out, if you connect it to the gazebo ramp. There's a lot of things to look at in this design that isn't going to happen for this budget. That's something that we have these numbers this high to do the engineering and all that. This is the cost of getting the survey, the engineer, the building, and the construction, $200,000. And that moves us forward at the project.
I don't think we need to move forward with that at this point. I really don't. I think we need to just keep it like we've got it.
That's the question. Are there better upgrade trailers than what we have?
better upgrade
Yeah,
trailer.
better, that.
Quality.
Better quality.
It just depends on what you want to do. Because there are different options for the inside of them. You can get wooden panels, but they cost more. But they do come with them options that you can do. You can upgrade it on the inside to make it where you got wallpaper now. Like I said, you could put wooden panels in there. So there's,
Do we really care what's on the walls?
well, that's,
When we,
I think we're really talking about the exterior and how it stands up to the weather.
Did it get damaged at the storms at all?
no, not during storms.
Well, you
It-
moved
it-
them out, didn't you?
Yeah,
You
during the
removed them for
storms-
the storms.
Yeah, during storms, anything like that, we have to move them off the island. That's by FEMA rules too.
Where are they stored?
We store them, well, this time we store them at the Public Works building, but we have stored them at Station 2 in the past.
Are they stored inside or outside?
Stored outside.
Dustin, what's the
Okay.
cost if we go forward just to see what this would do? Is there, it's not $200,000. What would be the cost just to look forward to see how much it technically is, and if we could go towards the pier? Because right now, we don't even know that.
The cost is $200,000 for us to also do the surveying and engineering. We won't spend any money on it this year. It's not budgeted. Unless y'all want to do a budget amendment to have us go survey the property, do all the calculations and have an engineer go ahead and do all that this year. That's what the $200,000 is for the entire project. If you want a permanent bathroom, we've guesstimated $200,000 for engineering fees, survey fees, and
So
construction.
you're looking at this 2020 project.
Well, yeah, it's next year's budget. It's 1920.
Yeah.
I mean, it's 1819. No, 1920.
1920.
Yeah. Now I'm getting all confused, numbers. This is for next year's budget. We're not asking to do this year.
Okay, I know
None of the
that.
work would be done this year.
Yeah,
We're proposing for next year's budget.
Okay, my question sort of follows along this line. Why can't we, one, measure the distance to see whether it's in the zone?
We could do that part,
Yeah.
but what I'm trying to say though is I won't be able to see if it's actually in the flood zone without having someone do a survey over. I mean, a surveyor needs to pull that out using those layers. We won't be able to do that ourselves. But we can measure to see the distance. If it's beyond that, it's going to be beyond the 150 feet. I can just tell you that from the aerial.
Yeah.
But
And now, doesn't that make it a non-starter? Unless we change our UDOs?
well, no, like I said, we can work around that by splitting the few hairs if you really want to make this happen. I mean, it's already a non-conforming situation. We wouldn't be expanding the non-conformity because there's an existing structure further out than it. So I think we'd have legal ground to stand on. It's just this really thin legal ground. And if y'all want this to happen, we can look into that. There's other options other than moving that 150-foot rule for development. I mean, we could look at a text amendment to allow for the government to establish public needs and assessments beyond the scope of the ordinance. And that would give us the right to do these things without having to change the town's ordinances later on if you want to repair the gazebo, or if you want to remove it and upgrade it, or if you want to, I mean, there's a lot of things that would affect that other than just swapping out the rule. But my personal opinion wouldn't be to put it to gazebo anyway. I personally think you should have the permanent structure closer up to the road.
Why?
Just for the clarity that it'd be simpler in case there was any damages from the structures and whatnot. It's not going to be on the beach. The rubble's not going to be in the dunes. We wouldn't be affecting the areas that people want to put those natural planting grounds near the turtle, sculpture, all that in that general vicinity. I mean, there's other stuff at the gazebo than just putting up a brick building on stilts.
My argument is what John says, that the convenience of the people bathing at the beach, they don't want to walk 200 yards to the road to use the restroom. So, it's a convenient factor if we do this. I wouldn't want to do it on the road. I think it's an eyesore to begin with.
Well, then I think that would be the deal killer, in my opinion. I personally, I mean, like I said, I can find a way in the ordinances that we can make it work. That's not the hard part. Like I said, there's already provisions for waste management systems. This is just an enclosed one as opposed to an underground one. But my concern would be having a permanent structure that close onto the beach.
If that structure gets destroyed, the pier's going to go down. There's going to be a huge amount of waste from
Yeah.
debris.
My thoughts on all of this is go ahead and have a regular replacement schedule for the mobile bathrooms that we can put in and take out.
All right.
And at least definitely for this year, and if we need to think more about the future and get a better sense of whether there's a demand for for a permanent bathroom there. The ones that are there function, they maintainable, they wear out, but if it's 52,000 to replace what we have, one of them, right?
Yeah, that's one.
And it lasts 6 years or so, it's less than $10,000 a year for that, very necessary public convenience.
And,
Well, the only thing I'd like to look into is the look of it, the exterior-wise, to make it look a little better than what it looks now.
And there you increase the cost.
Not necessarily,
The outside or
Yeah.
just
The outside.
outside.
just to see the difference.
If you're talking about a permanent one.
No, no,
No,
it's
even-
temporary,
On the mobile unit.
yes.
Well, you can do a lot with landscaping too.
Well, he's got to move it in and out, so the landscape is going to
Yeah,
help hurt him there.
landscaping's, you can't put landscape in the front or where the tongue of it is at, because we do have to move it in and out.
But around the sides of,
Around the back and on the side, we probably do something.
Which end of it do you call the front?
At the gazebo, that one with the tongue sticking out is towards the road, towards Main Street. So that's what we have to hook up and pull it out that way. So that's why I say the front of it is that, so we couldn't put nothing there in the front to keep us from having to pull it out and put it back.
But the one at the road, we can do landscaping
Yeah,
around
the one at the
that.
road we
That's
could
the
do
one
the-
people are complaining about.
We got some bushes, but we can upgrade it.
That
Push the
does
bar.
need to happen.
Okay. We can do that there because it goes out the other way towards the gazebo when it gets.
so we
pulled out.
agree as a council, we'll go forward with a new bathroom, portable one. Look at if we can landscape it a little better,
I can do that.
and right now we'll hold off on the permanent structure.
And we have two of them. Didn't we get both of them at the same time?
Yeah, we did.
But the one that's out by the street gets significantly less usage?
Little
Do you
bit less
rotate them
use.
back and forth?
No, you can't rotate them back and forth because the doors are opposite sides.
Okay, so what is the expected replacement time for the one on the street?
The one at the street's holding up very well because it don't give, let's say, that much use like the one at the street, at the gazebo. And plus, the one at the gazebo's got a little more salt because it's closer to the ocean, so you get a little more salt spray to it than the one at the Main Street.
Okay, so we really don't need to plan right ahead at this time. We
No,
just do one-time purchase for this replacement.
Yes.
That's fine.
What is
I
that
don't,
sorry, Charles, go ahead.
I'd like to see a permanent bathroom, but I don't like the idea of tweaking the rules so we can do it. I think that's bad precedent. I think we should replace the temporary one. And I never thought the building looked that bad. But when I need to use the bathroom, I'm not looking at it.
Well, we can have a children's project to paint the exterior.
Well, I think the landscaping would help it tremendously, too.
Okay.
All right.
We'll work on that.
So we're all consensus with that?
Yep.
Yes.
You understand?
Yes,
Okay.
got it. Anything else with public infrastructure?
Nope.
Let's see.
Dustin, go over real
We,
quick.
we go to
Bill.
staffing and stuff like that, personnel costs and those things later, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. This is just operational and equipment.
Go over.
Just the need for the building. Just go ahead and, since it's part of public
Oh,
infrastructure.
okay. The need for the building, if you look, there should be, well, it's actually under streets. If you go to the street side, or street tab, you'll see there's an aerial photo in with that.
It'll be the last page under
Yep.
these streets.
Yeah, it is.
So when the fire department, the building was built back in 1990, 91, when the Public Works building was built. It was added onto in 2004. That's just the backside. But before the fire department was built in '05, we did have storage in the front area that was used. But when the fire department was built, they moved back further on us. So that put us having to move everything around back and basically limited our storage area now that we have. So basically all we have is behind the building that's for storage is that one area right there that we have for anything we need. And we don't have but 2 bins for rock or marl. So we need more bins for mulch, riprap, stuff that we actually do need, that we use.
Pipe for
We don't-
stormwater.
Pipe for stormwater, lumber, stuff like that we keep on hand. We just don't have the room for it.
You got 2 bays, right?
There's 2 long bays and 1 short bay.
I have a question. When we start buying pipe for the stormwater repairs, how much are we gonna buy?
Well, right now, I've got 180 feet sitting on my yard right now,
180?
180 feet.
And that's for the,
Given our
That-
problems, that's not much.
no, and that's specifically for the
What
Azalea
Azalea.
project.
What is that?
And if you noticed last night, I had, Rich mentioned that the 35th Street, catchment number 5, right?
Yeah, I think it's
Um,
fine.
They didn't have, getting everything arranged so that the power company was up there lifting everything, the contractor was on site, and all the work they had to do, he had to modify the engineer's plan because the supplier didn't have the correct, enough of the correct pipe, the perforated pipe. With the more space and keeping these materials on site, we wouldn't run into those problems. When we were able to go fix something, we wouldn't have to rely on just what's in stock, because we'd have it in our bins, replacing. So we, over time, would build up materials. If we had extra materials from other jobs, they'd be able to lay down there and be used for other work, as opposed to, what do you have on the shelf right now? We're having to do this, we're having to fix this right now. We'll be able to do a more proper job having the materials on hand when we need them. And without the space to do that, there's just no way we can keep the stuff available for all the work that Public Works and Stormwater have to do across the whole town.
And there's no way of us using any of the property under the bridge.
No.
No,
That's because of DOT and.
Yeah.
No storage. You can't use it for storage. No, they will not let us.
We don't have room at our Station 2.
there's no room
No.
for a laydown yard. And,
No.
and right now, we've got the vac truck there because it's the only place that has a bay tall enough to hold, the doors tall enough to hold it. And honestly, we shouldn't be sharing that facility. We've already had an incident where one of the fire trucks was pulling in and dinged the mirror, right? I mean,
The back light on the back.
the
of it.
backlight on the vac
Fire
truck,
truck.
I mean, just barely. But it's not an ideal situation when they're pull-through bays and you're taking up a slot in there. And the fire trucks need to go in and out as quickly and efficiently as possible.
I understand, but in Public Works, we've contracted out a lot of what you folks used to do.
Just leaf and limb.
Just leaf and limb.
And a little bit of the landscaping, that's it. That's
But
all
none of
there's
that kept materials on site.
No.
That was all stuff with just mowers and truck.
Well, I rode through the Public Works Department, and I think we could do a better job of keeping it cleaned up and neat.
Well, yeah, I agree with that. And at the same time, half the reason we'd like to have another facility is to remove that appearance from people driving across the bridge, because all we ever hear is complaints that it's so unsightly and so unsightly. A new facility would allow us to take it out of the public's eye and give us the space we need.
To the tune of $1 million?
That's a guesstimate based on land prices in this area. There's not a whole lot of space in the town that's not already been divided down to smaller than what we really need for growth, expansion, and to hold things.
Hiram, have you talked to Grady in regards to talking to,
He says he's looking into it.
looking into it? We talked to Grady about talking to Mark Saunders about, just because there's some land over here that's useless to everybody by the power.
I can't hear
facility.
you, Mark.
By the power facility across the street here,
Yeah.
there's useless land for him.
Yeah.
And I thought we could approach him and ask him to donate that or give us a good price on that property and be right across the street here. right?
Yeah.
And Grady's looking into that for us,
Well,
Right.
Grady's looking into the fact that since we're in,
litigation.
well, we're not still in litigation, but we could possibly be in litigation if the terms of the settlement agreement aren't met, to make sure that if we could even approach him for this, because while that land may or may not be part of the Jaguars Lairs development process, it may be involved in part of their settlement with their own people too. So we need to make sure that, A, we can do this approach, B, there is enough land there for it, and C, that they're even willing. There's only another space inside town limits or within our jurisdiction that hasn't, about 3 other places in the town that have enough land to do that kind of work with without having to go outside of our jurisdiction, like we did with Fire Station 2. And by that point, really, it's just too far to go that way. I mean, if
Yeah,
you're
it
trying
is.
to drive the backhoe through town and you're having to
Don't
go
do
down
that.
904
Yeah.
to do it, it's,
That's too far.
What land are we looking at that's local, other than the 3 that you just mentioned? I mean,
well, like I said, there's the property here behind us over in Angel's Trace. Then there'd be property down towards Seaside. It's a large piece. And then property over there next to the apartments, they got de-annexed, but I know they've got plans for that property. They're not gonna give it to us, and especially not cheap. So,
no, it's nothing cheap.
yeah, so that's what I mean. There's not a whole lot that's available to us that's acreage that would work.
So we're stuck with one piece of property actually over here. If we can get that, and we have to wait for Grady to get back to us. Is that pretty much?
No, like I said, I mean, there's other options. That's just the best option. It's centrally located. It's off the beaten path, and it'd be easy to buffer away from the citizens and not have to worry about the quote-unquote unsightliness of Public Works.
Who owns the
But it-
property?
And-
I'm
and
sorry,
so
right
the-
here.
Hmm?
Property right across the street that's empty before you get to the power.
It's part of the MUD district. That wouldn't be,
Okay.
it's part of the residential concept right here. We'd have to get past that power
On the other
station.
side of the power station.
Yeah. And on the other side is Sea Trail. Other side of Angel's Trace, it's all Sea Trail stuff, and it's not gonna be in their master declaration to let us do that.
So we don't have too many
Maybe
options.
the town needs to do what we do at our house, make do.
Well, that's what we've been doing.
Well, I understand that, but
And
That's,
the
I have.
trade-off for making do is, it's gonna be unsightly.
when you go over the bridge,
Mhm.
and how long are you on that bridge?
I'm just going based on the complaints that
How
we get.
long are you on that bridge?
I don't know. How fast you driving?
35 miles an hour.
Uh, g- Bless you.
So the money in there is in a holding place to explore while we explore the options.
Well, if you want us to go actually buying land around here when they know that that's what you need, bless you again.
Yeah.
They have us how they want us, so it's the best guess at what I've been able to find 5 acres, what it's sold for on the coastal town in that large of a tract in a premium area is what I'm basing it on, and just record sales. But that's not to say that it wouldn't be cheaper,
Yeah.
not to say that it wouldn't be more. Because especially when you get government involved, people tend to raise the price. So it's just our best guess at this point.
But Harm, aren't we putting the cart before the horse? Don't we really need to know what Grady's going to come back with, looking at the land prices before we even do this? Because I'm not going to put $1 million for next year's budget unless we know more detail.
Well, I can't get you more detail without, it's a budget, okay? I can't go out there and do all the work to this year for that money on the possibility that we'll buy it next spring and the prices change. I mean, that's where we're at with that. If we're gonna contact a real estate agent to go ahead and do this and carve it out, then they're gonna wanna get paid to do all the work. So either we budget for the possibility of doing it and we don't follow through with it, or we follow through with it, or you decide you don't wanna do it next year and we don't put it in the budget. I can't give you specifics that we don't have, and we can't get without the authorization to go look at it.
Well, we just went through a process that we waited till the end of the tax revaluation cycle So all the prices have just gone up officially in the tax records.
Yep.
And unless our economy collapses, you know, they're gonna keep and continue to go up. So I think we ought to at least keep it in there, keep our options open. It's one of those things like we found out with concrete this year. You keep delaying and keep delaying, the prices are gonna be skyrocketing. And with all the equipment we have, and the materials we need to do, the stuff we need for the stormwater and all of that, we need to be looking at an adequate place for. So I think we should drive on, continue to put in a project and put it in the budget and see what we can do.
And I just want to point out, you're not going to, this is budget, you're not going to have exact figures on a lot of the projects, because when you go out for bid and you go out for options, I mean, it could come in lower, it could come in higher. Like we just experienced with the sidewalk project, like Councilman Corbett was saying. So we're never going to be able to give you the specifics of this going to cost us this much to buy this land. That's not going to happen. Because until you're in a
Yeah.
contract to buy that land, we're not going to know how much it's going to cost.
I believe that we should clean up the Public Works and look at this issue next year and see what we could do over there, make it look better and manage it better.
I agree.
Well, we haven't made a commitment to
Yeah.
spend the money. You know, obviously cleaning up public works is something we should go ahead and try to do and continue to maintain all the time. We've been, it's been a number of years that we've been pushing off to the next year, pushing off to the next year, pushing off to the next year for this type of thing, particularly the land besides us and stuff like that. If we have it in a budget and we go through and we investigate and we don't use it,
Well, I just find that, John, government, when you give them the money, they use the money. So I think, you know, as far as the parking over here, I think that's a separate issue, and I have no problem looking into that. But I think, you know, our town is not getting bigger. I know we do have stormwater problems coming up. We do have to find a place for storage for that product. But we are a 4,000 person town. We're not going to get much bigger. I don't think our Public Works has to get any bigger. I mean, I do agree with what everybody says. It is unsightly. Going over the bridge to a beautiful island, you see the Public Works, and nothing against you, but it is what it is. If we could go just clean it up a lot, maybe put more landscaping, decorate, make, just look into that before we spend $1 million on land. I think we should be prudent and look at that first, John, before we make that big step. And we always do a amendment for the budget for next year to add this, if we can do it. I think we should look into the cheaper version, do it first before we go and spend $1 million for a piece of land that we don't even know right now what you find and get for $1 million. Right?
Mark, I'm more interested in protecting the equipment that we spent hundreds of thousands of dollars on. And not only that, the other, you know, I can't see how they're not almost falling over themselves trying to do things in the current location. And you don't want to spend $1 million on this, which protects the town's investments, but you would spend $1 million on 60 parking places at the beach.
I'm not willing to do that either.
If I can real quick, this isn't a final decision meeting.
Mhm.
It is a consensus kind of moving forward. So if it's going to be this kind of split, we can leave it until to take it out at the final. So that way it's still sitting in here. So we don't have to add it if y'all make the final decision to add it.
I have no problems with that.
Because it's all just proposals at this point.
yeah, keep it
Okay.
in then.
Keep it in until we get a full council, and at the end, when we have to make a decision, that's what we'll do.
And in April is when we're looking to develop that final budget for y'all to take to public hearing.
Sounds good?
How much do you anticipate this will increase our taxes?
We're not looking at the revenues right now. That will come later. I don't have a tax scroll to be able to say how much our revenues are or make any projections. I'm sorry.
That's Cindy.
Oh.
You still need to talk into the mic.
To be able to say anything about what our tax rate is, will have to be after we get the tax, especially with the revaluation. So once I
And
get
we don't have that
tax-
number yet.
No, ma'am.
They have not sent us the tax scroll.
Really.
Yeah.
And
But it's okay, because this is the very, very, very beginning. So just trying to, everything is really rough. And it's just trying to get an idea of what the possible needs are, and like numbers aren't 100% accurate, but getting all departments to have a direction and just kind of like, it's like going down a river. And we're gonna have so many twists and turns with it, but just getting everybody on the same page to start with and having an idea, and then as it goes through, we can start cutting and adding and
Sarah, there's a
getting
good
more
possibility,
specific.
there's a good possibility we could do this without a tax increase.
Right, I mean,
So,
I really,
We won't know
haven't,
that to April, the
Okay.
final numbers.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I
and
think we should
and
just keep it
None
on.
of these have personnel in it, and, I mean, that's gonna change everything too, so. It's just the
You look at
very,
it,
very
I mean-
beginning.
Again, this is just to notify y'all of what the departments are looking to try to do. And then, we already did your goals and objectives, and then we'll do is how this all aligns with your goal and objectives as much as we can. We couldn't get everything into these department budgets that was discussed at the last meeting either. So there's still other layers to this to move forward with.
Fine, but I'm very uncomfortable with this.
I understand, but
Okay. And I am also.
it's all
so,
just based on proposal.
Yeah. It wouldn't be right not to look into it after we get the final numbers and see what that says. So we agree that we keep it on for right now?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Streets.
Okay. Anything else under public infrastructure?
You're at streets now, right?
Yeah, the streets.
Okay, now we should be looking at your street spreadsheet?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Under streets, uniforms, that's for the guys, for my staff, to suit them. Training is for us to go to stormwater school or, pesticide school, to get our certifications in it. Tires and oil. Department supplies is just for us to, buy like chainsaws or, weed eaters, anything tape, anything like that we need to, for us to work with for it. Also, you'll see where it says, safety equipment, there's a tripod, that is a, tripod that we set up over, it's, over manholes, so that if, somebody goes in it, that if something happens, that we have able to get them out. It's basically a winch system.
The safety.
It's for safety, yes. Communication, infrastructure and repair, that's, street paving. It's also for that. It's divided between streets and divided between Powellville. It's also divided. We put 400,000, so 200 is in here and 200 is in Powellville. You know what?
We had to do 100 in Powellville and then 400 in streets.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
That's the current year, it's the 2-2.
Okay. So you, okay.
Yeah, and you're
100
looking at, Rice Mill, Cotton Mill, Forest Creek, and Colony for
Yes.
those.
Yeah, for them, it's Rice Mill, Cotton Mill, Forest Walk, and the Colony.
Is
Is
it
that
Forest
all on
Walk or Forest
Sea-Trail?
Creek?
Yeah, them
That's
three,
all
yeah.
on Sea Trail.
Yeah, except for
So
the
tho-
Colony.
those are expenses we have assumed because we took the roads in.
Yeah, this has been our roads for ever since the 90s.
Okay.
These are not the new roads.
No, these are not new roads. No, they are not.
And the Colony one, when that's where we're just, because they park on the side of it, we're not talking about the parking part, we're just talking
We
about
do.
the travel lane.
Yeah, we have a 20-foot easement through there.
Are we selling that to them? I thought that's in the process of doing that, or no?
Not that I'm
Not-
aware of.
Not I'm
Okay.
aware, no.
Oh, and real quick, what type of paving does that involve for these roads? Like
Rice
we're-
Mill would be with the fabric and the overlay. Forest Walk would be, or Forest Creek would be just an overlay over it, and so would Cotton Mill be just overlay over it. And
You said overlay, like a
so
half
inch
inch?
and a half, inch and a half
Okay.
overlay. Reason why we're doing Rice Mill with the fabric is we do have some alligator, and that's where it is cracked. And by putting the fabric down, it's able to hold it together better, and we don't have to mill or take up the road when we do that. Because if not, you would have to take up the road because you want a good solid base.
How long does that last?
It's good for 20, what they
Okay.
say. We've already done some roads with the fabric, throughout the town to, use. So it's holding up very well. Even during the ice storm where we done it, where we had failures before where the ground froze, it's held up very well when we had that, when the ground froze that time.
And the restriping, crack sealing, is that other roads or?
Yeah, we've been trying to do crack sealing for the past year, but we haven't been able to get there. But I want to start that program where we do start, do crack sealing, roads, so it will help prolong the life, so we don't have to come in and pave all the time.
Do you have the equipment to do that?
No, we would have to rent it.
And that's in the budget, I rent it?
Yeah.
Okay.
And the restriping is like in C-Trail and other areas where or Shoreline Drive East, where there's a line painted down in the center. We just want to go back and restripe it, refresh it up for the restriping. Equipment repair is just, for the, equipment that we have, like the, tractors, lawnmowers, anything like that. Vehicles, maintenance is just for the trucks. Of course, in case anything happens to it.
So there's no big budget ticket item this year, right? We did
No.
everything last year.
No, nothing.
Well, I wouldn't say it's the mini excavator.
Mainly excavators is the only thing that will be split between Public Works and Stormwater.
And so they're pretty much getting those easements
Right.
and prepare the ditches and everything and go through the easements. Sorry.
Disco, huh? Oh, my goodness.
It allow us to actually get in there without having to constantly rent the equipment out.
So, okay.
By the time we pay for it, in 2 years, it'll equal the cost of time, so we probably have to rent it out. And that can be shared between both budgets, because both
Yeah.
departments will be using it.
You see that where it says Department of Equipment at the bottom, you'll see where it's split, the mini excavator.
Yeah.
That's it for streets, Godin.
What you want to do next?
I just had one question, Tara. In 2016, we spent $752,000. Now we're only spending $206,000. Is that just equipment purchase back then?
Where's that at?
No, we're spending, we're proposing 516 right here.
I know.
It'd be an increase from the previous year of 206, but yeah, in 16, apparently it was the infrastructure and maintenance repair, something must have,
Big item.
well, jumped it up.
Yeah. Okay.
And most likely was Matthew stuff.
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's see.
And the next page where you have the walkway repair estimating $100,000, that's for these two walkways?
Yeah, and also, 39th Street to, do it in case y'all don't want to do the emergency access at 39th Street. That's also in there to, build it out to the road. If we
Didn't make
don't
it to the
decide to do
list.
that.
It didn't make it onto your list here.
Oh, it didn't?
That's in that is in
Oh.
the, beach erosion fund.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's in the Beach Road Fund for the.
But I think they're just
walkway.
flipping through the pages of the narrative.
So
there.
you're saying it's going
Right,
to,
I'm saying that.
the wooden
that-
structure will extend all the way to the road?
Yeah. If we don't pursue the emergency access for that. That's on the Beach Erosion Fund.
Right, yeah, the beach
Yeah.
access, they're actually the last section of the budget, and that's the
Yeah.
only thing that was
So we're
budgeted
gonna-
in beach erosion.
We'll get to that later, or can we
Yeah.
discuss
Yeah,
it
they can
now?
get that
Okay.
later.
You can discuss it now if you'd like to.
Or we can skip through it and go straight to it.
That's the only thing that's in the beach erosion fund.
Yeah.
If you wanna,
No, just take a look at it then.
Yeah.
You're talking about 39th Street walkover,
Yes, the beach access.
and you plan to do what to it?
if we don't pursue, or the council don't want to pursue, to use it as an emergency access, the structure right now, you got a walkway that's halfway.
I know, I walked down it the other day.
Yeah, so
And
we-
it's a beautiful walkway through there, and it's the last one that we have that's still in its natural state.
yes,
I would like to see us keep it in its natural state.
Okay.
Now, yeah, you might need to do some more work at the dune area before you get over to the beach, but I personally don't want to see walkway all the way down, that beautiful walkway that's a reminder of the way days used to be here in Sunset Beach.
okay. Because we've had requests for other citizens to build it out because of the water, because when we do get a heavy rain, it's flooded, so you can't get down it unless you go down the other ones. So
Is that
I've
the
had
one without rails?
No, basically,
It's
the nature,
natural.
it's natural to halfway.
The wooden part stops halfway,
Yeah.
starts halfway down the.
And walks right
wall.
through the, like 10 steps, goes up, and then out to the ocean.
Right.
Hold on a second, I'll show you.
Have we got a ruling yet from Canva as far as extending the decks out farther to the beach?
No, I have not
I
seen
haven't seen anything from
anything.
the state. It's not
No.
CAMA, it's the
It's
state
state.
statutes.
State statute?
Yeah, I haven't seen anything.
I haven't seen them
When are we
modified.
gonna know about that?
Maybe by the summer.
Before we start work?
Well, if we don't start these till the spring anyway,
Yeah.
or even late fall, we
Fall.
should know before then anyhow.
Yeah.
If it goes through this year in legislation.
Mark,
Yes.
can we take a short break?
Absolutely. Jan's looking for a picture, so we'll take a short recess, be back in 5 minutes.